This
something on that
conference will
money
now
line.
be recorded.
It started back with March Madness, actually. And there was a high probability, a correlation with underdogs winning outright during a period of time where the point spread didn't matter all that much, kind of like in the NFL playoffs, where we know historical probabilities, pick the winner, you're going to cash the ticket 8, 9 out of 10 times, depending on which round of the playoffs it is. Well, it was like that at a section of March Madness. And I was saying, if you're going to bet on a dog, you got to sprinkle some of that bet on the money line. 10% of it, 20% of it, depending how big of a dog it is. But you're doing yourself a disservice. Well, I think even more important, I think we need to start using the phrase, you ain't sweating unless you're over betting, or you ain't sweating if you ain't over betting. Something along those lines. Because the only reason you would ever be sweating is if you're over betting. Because if you ain't over betting, you ain't sweating. There's nothing to sweat. You already know the outcome. The numbers don't lie. Like, that's already been established. You see that year after year after year after year. So the only thing that's left to do is manage risk properly. The hard part is finished. You found sources. Like, I had to find outs, take action from winning groups to get the information. Now, sources like myself are offering that availability without even having to do book partnerships. They even have to take on that risk. So it's just, again, fighting our own demons. But like I always do, we got to start off right now, and we always rewind. Transparency is key. We look at the last 7, the last 30, and the year that we're in, regardless of how hot or cold I'm running. First off, let's look at the last 7 days. Let's go recent to furthest. Last 7 days. I click everything. I am minus 29 units. 29 units. Now remember, we're betting a quarter of that, 0.25. So that's like 7 positions, 7.5 positions that we came down in the last 7 days. Again, I tell you when I win, I tell you when I lose. If you're not over betting, you're not sweating. Sure, it's a losing 7 days, but here's what's more important. Over the last 30 days, if you've managed risk correctly, you're actually still up 27 units. So even though we lost about 28 over the last 7 days, we're still up 27 for the last 30 days, which means if you didn't overbet, there's no reason to sweat. Yeah, they just took a little bit of our gains. That's all they did. Again, we're never going to go up in a straight line. There'll be times we're hot, running hot, where it feels like that. But then we're going to consolidate, and we'll chop and we'll chop and we'll chop, and then we'll make another lift up. That's what happens. That's how we got to. Now let's move on to what are we for 364 2023, the year we're in right now. What are we, June? So through 5 months. Okay, good. We're still at 200.9 units. And why is 200 key for me? Because at the end of the year, if I could end up just 200 units, remember, we're betting a quarter of that, 0.25, because we don't overbet. We go from 0.25 to 1.25. That's it. With a 4% play being 1% of bankroll. 200 units, a quarter of that is 50. That means we're up 50 positions. A nickel better's up 25,000. That's the goal. If you can do that off of the bankroll it takes, over a few years, that growth is so exponential, I could see how these guys are where they're at. And there's like, dude, we're doing exactly, wanting to do exactly what you said and are on that way, where it's like we have 10,000 and we're betting $1 on each of these because we don't need to get down more than 5 dimes. Like that, they're good with that, betting between 1 and 5. They don't need to get down 50,000, 100,000. They don't want that risk. They're good. They're comfortable, making good money, doing nothing but betting some sports. God bless you both, man. God bless you both. And one dude even said he'd come on, but I don't want it to be like an infomercial for me. I just want to if you like, just do it the right way, and it's not as hard as it's made to be if you have winning information. And we actually do have that. So that's where we're at. We're up 200 units for the year. A quarter of that means 50. That's 50 positions ahead. Again, if you could do that over a year, you're winning a position a week. That's great. We're 5 months in, and we still haven't even had football. So anyone that's been here since January 1st and doing it the right way, you haven't been sweating because you're not over betting. And I apologize for the last 7 days, but that's going to happen. And I'd be lying to you if I told you it wasn't. I need to make sure you're prepared for it and that you bet in a way that you overcome it so that it isn't a problem. And then you're able to profit when the law of large numbers comes into play and our edge manifests the 200 units like it's done. That's what's going to happen when December 31st rolls around. We're going to say we're up, bomb, and whoever managed risk correctly will have made that money. Those that didn't are going to be like, oh, it's bullshit, or oh, that those numbers aren't real, or okay, again. So we got that out of the way as far as results. The reason I bring that up and why it's key is yesterday we had volume because there was the College World Series, the playoffs going to the World Series, and Major League Baseball. With a lot of plays in Major League Baseball, I had a lot of volume to contend with. I wasn't sure how to handle it because when it comes to those smaller market sports, they're very profitable. Like times a year that comes around, when the World Cup comes around, when March Madness comes around, when playoffs come around, they tend to offer good betting opportunities, kind of like Super Bowl props. It's once a year. I'm going to have a lot of volume because historically the edge is so great, it would be foolish not to take advantage. But with that said, I need to also make sure that you're using it and profiting it from it, or else it's worthless. Like, I don't want to give you more than you can handle. Meaning, I even held back yesterday. I had 2 WNBA plays, and I said, they got enough. And you didn't miss out. They split, so you would have lost some big. But regardless, whether they went 0-2 and 2-0 isn't the point. The point is, you guys need to let me know in this chat, like, what are you okay with? I've lowered volume for 2023. I hope you guys can see that. We bet multiple markets. You don't have to, but I do. I have the bankroll to do it. Not everyone does. So you could choose the markets you want to bet. You see, that's why I tweeted out where I'm at lifetime at WagerTalk in each sport. Pick the sports you're most comfortable with or where I've done the best and just follow those markets if you want. You don't have to follow where I'm 5th in profit. Maybe just follow the ones where I'm number 1 in profit. Obviously, if I've done it 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, it's not by accident. It's not luck. Like, eventually, you got to conclude that the guy's got an edge. You might not think his voice, his teeth, the way he talks, his attitude, whatever the fuck it is. But at the end of the day, you can't argue he's got an edge in these particular sports. So I want you to profit from the information, though, or else what good is it? And that's why I need to know from you guys. Please give me some feedback. Do you want me to slow down on the volume, or when it is times like that, like College World Series, Olympics, World Cup, March Madness, Super Bowl, just give you as much as I possibly can? Because again, the Super Bowl, yeah, I have an opinion. After a whole season in NFL and having my own intuition of 30 years of betting, I do have an opinion. But in the College World Series, I have no opinion. So I don't handicap the stuff I move. I share it and I piggyback it because I know historically these groups I work with have done a lot of damage in a market like the College World Series. That's why I'm willing to blindly piggyback it and trust it enough to even share it. And fortunately, because of the technology we now have, you guys can even get the number, because half of these I can't even give to the regular subscribers. Like, you just can't get the number. Like, I gave you guys Wake Forest today. That's going to be gone. Like, Vanderbilt came in minus 175. I couldn't even use it. By the time I went to bet it for the group that gave it to me, it was 270. I had to eat it, like, because I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't set up right. And that's the price of doing business, that I sometimes have to eat it when I'm not ready to move. And we weren't ready to move. They were. They got us at 175 on Vandy, and I couldn't get down to it was 270. Now, I'm not going to give it to you guys at 270, nor am I going to edge it off at 270. I just got to eat it at 175. But what I'm saying is that is a reflection of the respect these games get. And the reason they get this respect is because of the damage they've done historically and the edge that these groups have in these kind of smaller markets. When I send you a AAA baseball, when I send you an off sport, seriously, those are some of the strongest plays. But if it's too much volume, please, please, please give me an idea if it's been okay of late. Like, are you comfortable with a day like yesterday, where I believe there was, what, 6-7 plays in college World Series, and we rarely have had 9 MLB plays. We've been averaging, I think, about 4 to 6 Major League Baseball plays a night, which I wish we were a little higher, to be honest with you, because the edge has been really good to us historically in baseball. But I've been really selective, and I think that's why our ROI is higher than it has been also historically. But with that said, please give me an idea with the volume that we're getting. Are you okay with it? Are you comfortable with it? Do I need to slow it down? Or, again, when it's a sport that I don't even handicap, trust you guys with the information, meaning give it all to you. I piggyback it, and that's why I'm willing to put it to subscribers, and in my record, trust that it's going to reflect a winning result and make me look good too. So I mean, that's why I trust the information, but I would hold it back if it's going to overwhelm. Kind of like we talked about card counting with our first chat, and I said keep it to a level 1 count, because sure, your edge increases with level 2 and 3s, but so does your mistakes. So any edge you think you may gain from a harder count is probably going to be lost by any mistake you make. So again, just give me an idea. Okay, would love to see those plays coming in again on your screen. That was okay. Don't worry, they'll be all coming in. You'll be able to see everything. And again, with football too, what'll be cool is that you'll be able to see a screen that shows like actual action, like how many tickets are on team A, tickets are on team B, from good size sheets and stuff. But again, let's get one thing at a time. Let's get that out of the way. So volume, we're okay with the volume. Keep the plays coming. Keep firing, especially the 4%. Thank you. If they have. Again, that's another. Thank you, Gam. Another point I want to stress: you don't have to bet everything. Like, and again, I had a great talk with these guys last night, and thank you for dinner. They insisted, even though I felt like they were my guests coming to this city. With that said, play the 4%. Just say, you know what, I'm going to be very selective. My bankroll isn't where I could put in that kind of volume, 15 plays on a Saturday where there's 5 markets and there's 2 or 3 plays in each market. Instead, I'd rather just go with the 4% plays. Sure, I'm not going to be up 200 units, but I'm going to be up, and I'm not going to sweat it because I'm never going to overbet it, and I'm going to have less volume and just be more selective. Like, you can do that, and let the 3% go, the 2% go. Or if anything, if you look at the 3%, you're like, you know what? I actually like that side. That's a side I like, kind of like I do. I already have the stuff I'm going to lean strongly on. And as plays come in, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to fire. So my thought is I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to protect as much as possible, meaning I'm not going to overwhelm just for the sake of because it's winning stuff. Meaning I trust some stuff from groups long term is that I could blindly bet it and repercussions be damned. Meaning I could afford a losing month, a losing 2 months, losing 3 months, if knowing 9 months later I'm going to be rewarded. I understand everyone's not in that position, and my only goal for this room is for the room to grow exponentially. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time. That's why thank you to the two gentlemen that I see their names that are in here right now from last night, and also with the guys that are betting a lot less per unit. All together, we will exponentially win and move up and share knowledge, experience, and information. That, I promise you, is what the goal of this room is. And if you stick around long enough, you're gonna learn so much. Your intuition is gonna get so strong. That's why I keep repeating this stuff. It's not by accident. It's because every room that I worked at, that's how I got sharper. Because I was surrounded by men that spoke like this, that kept reminding me about half points, that kept reminding me about the higher the total, the less each half point and point matters, because you know that there's more variance when there's a lot more scoring. Those things start to make sense. They start to matter. You start to see certain things, and you don't even know why, but your intuition kicks in. Like I say, there'll a player come in and I'll pass and not even know why, but it's my intuition reminding me that I saw this before. I lost on this before. This exact setup, this trade has happened negatively before, or else I wouldn't be feeling this. Kind of like you ain't sweating if you ain't over betting. You got to be honest with yourself. If you're pissed at me over the last 7 days, it's because you just signed up or because you overbet the last 7 days. Because if you've been with me for more than 30 days, you should be up money unless you're doing it wrong. I'm not your problem. Again, you got to look inside. I'll help you, but we got to be honest here. That's what the room's for. We got to be honest with each other. If you've been with me over the last 30 days and you don't have your bookie's money in your hand, you're doing it wrong. I can help you do it right, but you got to take some of the blame. You got to take some of the blame. I'm here so you could yell at me, so you could tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I can help change that. But I can't do it if at least you don't try out my way. And my way would have gotten you through these last 7 days. I'm not happy about it. You think I want to pay the, I know regardless of what happens today or tomorrow with a lot of guys, I'm going to have to settle next week because I'm not going to, I don't chase. I bet what comes in today. Sure, we're going to have more UFC. In fact, we're going to be on John Castaneda. Know that you guys want to get out ahead. Castaneda is going to be a 4% play. There's some sharp against me. There's some sharp guys against me on that one. But I liked it. Guys that I trust their opinion the most in MMA are on that exact side as well. And I am going to bet it and just letting you guys know. Again, you want to get out ahead of it, get out ahead of it. That is a play we're definitely going to be on, kind of like the Miami and Denver over. And the only possible side we'll be on tomorrow is we'll be on the Heat or nothing at all. That much I can already tell you. We're not going to lay the points with Denver in the game too. I've done this long enough. We'll be on. So we have the over. We're going to be on the Heat or nothing at all. Again, if you like the Heat, it's on you. I'll let you know if we're going to pull the trigger. We already pulled the trigger on the over. Thank you, JB. That's what I wanted to hear. He said we are okay with anything that is plus EV. And here's what all I want to say is that needs to be the attitude, because too many times the gambling Twitter says, oh, you know, volume's bad. You can't outrun the VIG. And too much volume is a negative. That's the most stupidest thing you could ever say. It's just not reasonable. It makes no logic. If me and you meet up and we're going to flip a coin, and I'm going to give you 2-to-1 on a coin flip, so you know your plus EV. With certainty, you know your plus EV. Why would you want me to flip it one time? Why would you want to flip it 10 times? Wouldn't you try to get me to flip it as many damn times as I possibly can? The only reason you wouldn't is if you're underfunded. And after 5 flips, you're broke. But if you're funded well and you're getting plus EV, you're going to want to keep flipping. The only reason volume is bad is when you're overbetting and you're underfunded. Otherwise, you should invite it. Like, I invite the volume. Because I don't bet it all. Obviously, I get so much shit. I don't bet everything that I get. Like, is there the early play Boston Tampa? The over got some steam at 8.5. Most markets were 9. I didn't like it. 9's such a key number. Sometimes I'll take the 9 even to get confirmation. I'm okay with that because if they win, I get a push. It's not like I'm going to 9.5, and if it lands 9, they win and I push. I lose. But it wasn't a side that I was already leaning, so I let that shit go. Here, we'll take a peek now just to look at together if anything has come in as far as we scroll here. See, a lot of love for Texas we're seeing. Nah. See, none of that are sharp accounts. None of it is sharp accounts. So we don't have to pay attention to that yet. We could do that when sharp stuff's coming in, then it'll be a different story. But real quickly, sorry, there's some questions coming in that I'm looking at. Yeah, hold on. We're gonna get to all of them. We're gonna get to all of them. Don't worry about that. Again, and with the UFC, we're going to go through it real quickly, fight by fight, and kind of like when the NFL is, any game you have that you want to ask on, teasers, that kind of stuff, that's exactly what we're going to do. What else do I have with you guys to share here? Okay, one thing I needed to touch on. Again, we're getting a lot of sharp information. You see, I'll get a NASCAR play. I'll get a golf matchup. And you see historically how we've done. Again, the only reason I would ever bet blindly with these groups is because I know I've made money with them. You see, I'm second all-time in golf at WagerTalk. I don't know anything about golf. I don't handicap golf. But my sources of information do. And that's why I use their information. Now, when I get a play from them, my only job, the guys that I work with that I know they're not manipulating the market, they're not scalping, they're not using me for anything but to get them down a legit move. My only responsibility at that moment is to get you guys the play ASAP, for me to bet it and get it to you ASAP. And with this technology, you're getting it as fast as I'm betting it. Like, together, we're doing it, more or less. So at that point, you got to know if your book doesn't have that particular matchup, I can't do anything about it. Like, contacting customer service, and like, they can't help you. If you have 3 books, 2 books, and those books just happen not to have that prop or that matchup, what do you want WagerTalk support to do for you? Like, obviously, I'm sharing a play because it's available. We're betting it somewhere. I could show a screenshot of the ticket. Like, that's not a problem. But I can't, like, help you if your book don't offer it. Just let it go. Look at all the volume, the action that we have. Over the course of a year, we're going to bet 2,000 bets we're going to have. We're going to have over 1,500 bets. That's how you know our winning's real. It's not on a small sample. Trust me. Even if we have 100 bets a month, we're going to have over 1,200 bets, and we have more than that. So we're going to have 1,500, 2,000 bets when the year's over. 1, 2, 5 isn't going to make a difference if you bet the way I'm telling you, because you're talking about fractions of percentages on the bankroll. That's why do this as an investment, not as a gamble. Separate yourself from being a fan. Like, do this and then go watch it as a fan. Put in parlays as a fan. Do what you were doing that you enjoy. But if you're in this room, please, please, please do it like the gentlemen I met last night that are just robotic, like I'm doing it, who, yes, they have an opinion. A lot of the stuff they say, they're like, yeah, we don't like it, we don't bet it. We just let it go. But we trust that the stuff you're sending us is all plus EV. So when we do agree, we're confident. When we disagree, sometimes you save us money because we pass where we wouldn't have. And that's how I'm hoping all of you end up using this service to help you. Regardless, the bet amount is irrelevant because we're all betting the same, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, and 1.25. It's just the amount that we're timesing it by that differs. And that's our bankroll, which each of ours is different. And that's a private matter, and it doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. The key is do this right, keep doing it right, and that part keeps growing. That keeps growing. That's just simple math. Again, anything I share is not going to be opinion. If it's opinion, I'm going to tell you, this is my opinion. Argue with it. But facts, math, please don't argue it. Google it, go study it. But I'm not going to mislead you there. I'm not going to mislead you there at all. How many times would Gianni expect his starting bankroll to turn over during a full year? Good question, Daniel. I don't, I'll be honest with you. I don't really go into the year looking at it like that, like trying to turn over my bankroll. Like I said, I have the same exact amount I start with every year, and I have that much behind it, and that's just my investment for sports betting. So at the end of the year, I'm hoping I tripled it. You know what I mean? I hope it. You don't know going in what kind of year you're going to have. Like I said, fortunately, we've having a great year this year, and over the last 8 years, it's been, thank God, my life changing for myself and for a lot of people, at least financially. Again, you up that much if you've been doing it the right way. But they've been patient. It takes time, man. Nothing comes easy. So yeah, I want to flip it over as many times, but I start with the same roll every year, and I don't need that. I don't add to it. Like, I don't need to be betting more now. We're good where we are. Keep making more money, and that's why now I invest in stocks. I invest in real estate. I invest at Masterworks. I buy art. Like I invest my capital elsewhere because there's so many other investments out there that are giving you solid ROI with certain. There's a lot of, there's some more certainty. Again, sports isn't certain. Blackjack isn't certain. Long term, it's a certainty. And that's why the people that are with me buying long term, you guys are buying certainty is what you're doing. Like, you're buying certainty that you're going to be up at the end of the year. Like the units will be ahead, not the month, the week, the hot streak and shit like that. Now, other thing we do, and this someone is asking the question now about why don't you just make a 5% play immediately? Great question. I'm not holding back. I'm not trying to hold back. So, for any reason, like to benefit me in any way. The only reason I send out a play as a 4% play instead of a 5% play, then upgrade, is the same reason I do it as a 3% and then upgrade to a 4% play. Because at that time, with the information I had available, that was the strength and the bet size that it warranted. And then more information strengthening it, and I'm willing to increase my risk on that play. Again, I don't do this to sell a 5% play. If I did, I'd have one 3 times a week, not once a week when the markets are giving me the most to choose from. And I know people that are even doing it for entertainment want a serious person's opinion, even for a day. That's why you see me put it out there on Saturdays and on sale days, so normal people could get sharp shit. I don't do it to sell a 5% play. My 5% play is because it is a 5% play. We upgraded Dontel Mays because it's a 5% warranted it. You saw we got down minus 125, goes to 130. We upgrade, goes to 150. Sure, you're going to see some buyback on Arlovsky, obviously, when it goes that high. But right now it's sitting at minus 150 at the Superbook right here in Las Vegas. So that warranted the upgrade. That was proven by the line move. Like that, now we're good. I want them to win, but at least I know that our intentions are respected by the betting market, obviously. And we're on the right side before the fight starts. I would much rather be on this as a 5% play, knowing that the market has respected us since we got involved, than looking up now and seeing Dante Mays at even money. Even if he won, then I'd be like, fuck, what did I do wrong? Or I'd be looking, did I miss something? Did someone find out an injury or something with the weight cut? What did I miss? Because the market went against me. Let me see. Someone's asking. This person just like having all the info. Yeah, good. I'm going to send you then as much as I possibly can. Then for this room, you guys earned it. You're in here. You're paying for it. Deal. I will send until you guys say stop. It's getting overwhelming. And again, I'm never going to go crazy. We're not going to go to when I was trying to set records. Because again, now I realize I got to help the most people as possible. And this is how we're going to do it. So you're going to get it all. You're going to get it all. We're not going to stop. How many outs would I target if working with 50,000 bankroll? Or with 50 dimes? Honestly, if I had 10 dimes in 5 different books, I'd be ecstatic. If I even had, 20, 20, and 10, or 15, 15, 20, with 3 books, you could work. Yeah, sure. Because it's hard. Again, the ideal would be $5,000 over 10 books and shopping, but that's hard, man. I live in the real world where a lot of people can't do that. They don't have the time to log into 10 different accounts. Some are betting from their phones even. Some are out, they're working, they're driving. They're not sitting in front of a computer with screens and phones and all this stuff waiting to fire. And so I can't expect you guys to have the outs that I search for, or a lot of guys I work with have. Even some of the guys that are in this room have. You don't need that many, but if you're working with 50 dimes and don't have 3 to 5 outs, you're doing a huge, huge, huge disservice to yourself. And by 3 to 5, they got to be different type of outs, not the same sports books. Like, you know what I mean? Not like the DraftKings, FanDuels, the 3 square books that are all just going to bounce you once you start winning stuff, and all catered to the same market and offer the same betting line, same big. You want to be able to shop around. So absolutely, you got 19 regulated sports books with 50 dimes. 5 of them should be easy to handle, but at least start with 3. And if you're handling 3 easy, then expand it to 5. Because even though there's 19, believe me, there's not 19 different sets of lines. Everyone's board copying. I hang out with remember, you guys see, I hang out with guys that are behind the counter, guys that are actually moving these lines, that explain how they move them, who's betting them. Like, I know a lot how this industry works. And what I'm telling you is most sports books are screen cleaners. They look at screens and they clean their lines based on what they're looking at. Like if a sharp book offshore moves, they move. They're not waiting for a sharp to bet them and to move off action. They're moving off air. And that's why all their lines are the same. You don't need money in all 19. It would be a waste, and having your money just sitting in them and running around, and it becomes a more of a hassle and a job than it needs to be. So 50 dimes, start with 3 books. If you see, you could spread it to 5 and have 5 different sets of lines, then you're good. 5 sets of lines, 10 dimes in each one, you're gold. You're betting nickel pieces on 4% plays. That's what you're doing. So you could hit one book. You don't need to spread it out. With nickel pieces, you're not even going to get dropped. Most you're not hitting dime limit, 2 dime limits. You should be fine. You shouldn't even have to go like 250, 250s. Sorry, got to get wired up. Big day. Got UFC cards still, and a bunch of Major League Baseball. What else do I have to cover? And again, we're going to do the UFC as soon as I cover this shit. Someone reached out and asked. We had a 4% bet on the series with Miami. I sent out a play with Miami in Game 7. Yes, it worked out in our favor. Regardless, if Boston would have won Game 7, okay, if you followed my recommendation, it was based on, had nothing to do with my series bet. My series bet was made because when I placed that bet, it was plus EV, and I absolutely thought I placed a great bet. And the fact where they were sitting for the series, I thought reflected that. Regardless, then when I bet Game 7, I'm betting Game 7. My series bet doesn't matter to me because I bet size correctly. So I don't have some enormous risk that I now have to figure out what I'm going to hedge, what I'm going to do. That's just 4% play. That's what that series is. This is a whole different, this is a game right now I'm dealing with. That's a different bet. That's going to, however that gets graded, that's going to get graded. My concern isn't that. My concern is Game 7. Now, sorry, I have that, but I don't let that shit affect me. I approach everything that way. I look to place bets and move on, place my bet and move on. That's why I'm willing to buy back. And I know it pisses subscribers off when I do that, but I swear I would rather lose a subscriber than me buy back and not tell you and have me be off a game and you have money on the game. I don't give a fuck. People can think I'm a scumbag, dude, but I'm not that. That to me is a scumbag. Like, I can't fucking do that, dude. Like, I would rather piss you off and tell you I'm getting off it. Yeah, it's going to cost them some vig to get off it, but I'm not rolling the dice. You can let yours ride, but I just need you to know this is what I'm doing. And that's why I tell you, these are the results based on what I'm doing. But you could do better. Again, like I said, a lot of you guys are sharper than me, smarter than me. Take and learn and get better. Eliminate some of the losers that I send out. Please, please, please. If I'm up 200 for the units for the year, please be up 300, 400. That's what I want for you. But if you don't, then just put it on auto drive. Then that's all you have to do. Just put it on auto drive and piggyback, and you're gold. You're golden. That's all you need to do. Keep it that way. Okay. All right. I think then we could move on. All right. Let's start looking at the UFC. We're going to go through the card real quickly. Bottom line. Here, let's share the screen. Let's look at some of the handicapping notes. Why don't we? That'll be fun, right? Okay. Go to the UFC screen. We're going to start right at the bottom, boys and girls, because I know there's some ladies in here. So don't worry. Nobody forgot you. What do we have? What did we pull up here? All right. No, man. We don't need no drawing tools. What are these guys looking at right now? Come on. All right, it's giving me a little problems. I'm sorry, guys. Don't worry. Like I said, this all right, all be figured out just in time for us for football season when we're rocking and rolling. And since we're here, why don't we take a little sneak peek? A little sneak peek. Again, nothing to sneak peek at. Nothing to sneak peek at. So now we'll go back to the UFC action. We're going to start at the bottom. Limbs Grisham. Here's what I could tell you here. Damn it, I have to be able to move this shit. I'm going to have to get Gianni on here because I'm having the problem with my special notes that I had. I can't pull up. But here's what we have here. God damn it, dude. All right. All right. You guys are seeing that. Perfect. All right. First thing we got to do, let's look at the betting number. With Linz. Wow, big drop, right? Big drop from Grisham to Linz. And I can tell you with certainty that I know that side got hit. Yeah, the Linz side got hit as a dog. I didn't get involved in that fight at all. It's just one of them fights. I just don't see much value either way. Heavyweights, I would lean dog. Obviously, there's a lot of randomness involved, especially when you're talking lower level heavyweights. You know, you got two guys that are 500 fighters. It's hard to lay chalk with a 500 fighter, especially when they're not profitable in that spot. So, like you see Grisham, he's been money as a favorite, as an underdog, but not as a favorite. And historically, I always look at those things. To me, that, you know, any little factor that you could consider is going to matter. So on the Linz fight, we don't have really anything to share except we got some dog money that is definitely sharp on the Linz side. The next fight with Lacerda and Blackshear, we're going to be on Lacerda. That much I can tell you. Up to about 150 was where and we're still there right now. It had gotten a little higher, and I wanted to see if it was going to come back, and it has come back at most places. That's a 2 out of 3 spot, so I was comfortable laying the 150. And another fighter where loses their debut and now gets steamed after having lost their debut. And the thing with Blackshear, again, hasn't come through in this position. He's 0-2 as an underdog, not against stellar competition. There's just not much to like, coupled with, you know, that there's sharp money on the Lacerda side, already confirmed. Multiple groups that I work with bet it. I have no reason to disagree with it. The only thing that I'm contemplating and waiting on is to determine my risk amount now, because there's no negative information that has come in for me to want to fade the sharp side. That's what I do. Like I put all my leans for the fight, and if the groups that I work with come in, it helps confirm it. If they disagree, I take a step back. Sometimes I'll just pass. Other times, you know, sometimes I'll disagree and fire. But that's pretty much how we approach, how, you know, myself approaches it. Again, I would prefer to have it set up and you guys fire the questions so we could go over like each game or each fight that you guys want to, instead of just like freely going on, especially if ones that I don't even have opinions on. Again, I don't want to waste your time. I would rather just cover the stuff that we're going to be getting down on. So yeah, let's do that. Hold on. Let me get through these questions real fast. See anything player prop wise come across for tomorrow's NBA games? No, nothing so far on player props. And thank you for asking that, because you probably will get some throughout these finals. Props are very profitable, obviously, for sharp bettors. That's why they're smaller limits. Books aren't willing to take a lot of money on props because their edges, they know that the bettors have the higher probability of having the greater edges. That's why there's also sometimes more vig involved as well. And these betting groups are still well willing to lay -115 lines, -120 lines, because their edge is big enough. But I haven't seen anything for game 2 at all. Keep in mind, it was a lower scoring game 1, so that changes things. We're going over, so we may, because of the lower scoring game 1, find some props that correlate. That's what I like to look for. To look now for some undervalued over props, because we're on the over for the game, so we know that's the sharp side. Number 2, we had a low scoring game 1 that went under, so there's going to be an adjustment made. We're obviously seeing that on the total. It should be adjusting player props as well. Hopefully there's some overreactions on some players who did really bad. That's how I trade. That's my secret. You're going to learn a lot in this room. I trade stocks like that too. I look for overbought and underbought conditions, and that's pretty much it. And obviously isolate those trend lines where I expect a bounce, and I trade it, resistance or support. I don't make it harder than it needs to be. And I approach sports the very same way. I look for overbought and oversold teams. That usually makes me a contrarian. I'm okay with that. I don't go contrarian blindly. Like, I'm not a fade the public guy, because if you're not getting 11 to 10, you're not getting rich fading the public. Only the books do that. Like, I promise you, you're not getting rich fading the public. Maybe in 1980 you could have, not now. So don't even bother trying to fade the public to get rich. But unless, again, you're getting 11 to 10, then you're going to do just fine fading the public. But because I'm willing to bet some teams that look bad in their prior, some fighters that look bad in their prior, bet some overs on some player props that look bad in their priors, I'm usually on the contrarian side. Again, not by wanting to be, but the market circumstances usually put me on that side. So yeah, we're going to be looking to play some player props over in game 2. Look for players that underperformed, way underperformed in game 1. Check that there's an adjustment from, here's what I'm going to do. I'm telling you what I'm going to be doing overnight. My process, you're learning the process. Again, if steam comes in from those groups between now and then, hopefully I finished my work. But again, so far, nothing. That's what I'm going to end up doing. Looking for players who underperformed their game 1 prop lines. Obviously, those are out. They're valuable. You know what the player prop numbers were for game 1. Anyone whose points were 17.5 that only scored 5 points, I'm going to hope there's an adjustment down to 15.5, and I'm going to look to bet that player over. At least that's where I'm going to start. That's how I start all my handicapping every day. I look for overpriced. That's how I start my trading of companies. Overnight, there's gaps. Unlike crypto, which trades 24/7, stocks don't trade 24/7. So when the market closes between the overnights, prices change. A lot of times there's a huge gap in between. I look for the biggest gaps is what we like to do. So let's zero in, because I don't want to waste time talking bullshit. Let's zero in those fights we're gonna touch on. There came some sharp money on Gafurov. My lean immediately was on Castaneda. Hear me out. Castaneda's coming in off that loss against Santos. He went in hot off 2 straight finishes, all right? And when this line came out, I'll show you now where it moved from and show you where that sharp money was. He opens at 130, gets bet down here, right down here, right in here, where it got down to that 118, where this became, where he went to minus money. Right there was where it flipped. Obviously, Castaneda was still favored, but you were no longer getting plus money on the dog side, on the Gafurov side. So I knew for certainty, obviously not just from the line move, but a group that I share shit with, that they were betting that side. It was opposite what I liked. I liked the Castaneda side. I thought he sets up nicely in this fight. I can't pull up. I'll have that for the next one, man. That's why I'm fucking up this UFC thing. It's this great analytics of all their offensive, defensive, striking, grappling that this kid from Philly does. That's amazing, amazing work. His name's actual Nate on social media. I gotta give him more props. I use this stuff a lot. Anyway, no reason to keep this shit up for nothing. Because I want to make sure we're prepped and doing this right for you guys. I just don't want to talk just to talk. But then the guys that I work with that I respect their opinions a lot did come in on the Castaneda side. And again, that helped confirm where I was already leaning, and didn't see anything over the last 24 hours with the weight, with the line movement to get me off of that. The other thing I can tell you is this: Elise Reed is a very sharp side. The problem is she's now the favorite, and I don't know how. I'm trying to decide if I'm willing to lay up the -1. I have to be comfortable laying up the -150 to lay the price she's at right now. And I know she was being offered as a dog at the opener, and as a dog, it was a very, very good spot for Reed over Frey. Frey's just, again, in her 2 wins, it's against absolutely nothing competition, 3 and 6 opponents. I also, the age is huge for me. But I like the Reed side. I like the way they match up. Obviously, lower level MMA, you want to look to the dog, and that's what Reed was offering. That's not the case anymore, and that's where I'm being stuck up right now. It's whether I'm going to be willing to lay that price, because again, there's always more trades to make. Like, you don't have to fucking rush your bets or have action just because it's on. That is where you lose your edge. Like, that loss that you shouldn't have eliminates a win. It puts you like 2 behind. Try to stop doing that shit as much as possible. That's what I always tell bettors, because they say, like, should I be putting in my own stuff? Is it okay to be putting in my own? And yeah, have your own opinion, obviously. I want you to, but be careful that at least go in with the intentions it's plus EV. Like, I wouldn't urge you to be putting in your own stuff if you're throwing in all kind of parlays and teasers and shit we know is negative EV. Like, because any money we could win here, you're going to end up losing doing that kind of stuff. And again, I don't want that to happen. We don't need that here. We need you to be winning. Yeah, see, nothing's coming in that's lighting up that screen. That screen lights up when stuff comes in, and that's good. I'm glad, because when we're on here, like when football, you'll see it keeps coming in. That's a different animal because there's player props and stuff. Baseball's not like that. Baseball season, it's sides and totals, and I can tell you the other side we're looking at today is over Cubs San Diego. That's the total that we're eyeing on, still working on. A lot of metrics on that. And the Atlanta Arizona total, also looking at that one, over at 8.5. There's a lot of 9s out there, and that's where I'm stuck at. But the Cubs in San Diego will probably be really close to confirmed soon. At 8's where we're comfortable. Thought the true line should actually be 8.5 and be bet up to 9, which is such a key number. So I'm very sure nothing's going to come in that's going to get us off of that side. That's what I hold off on because so much comes in. And again, the only reason I'm sharing that, but I'm telling you, don't fire yet. Castaneda, yeah, you're getting Castaneda. But Cubs San Diego, there's something that the reason I haven't bet yet. Like, I'm seeing some line movement that's telling me there could be some under money, because yeah, there was that 7.5 open, but look at the amount of time it was an overnight available. Look at the time. Like, these are little keys that matter so much, where you could determine what kind of money was possibly bet, what kind of respect did it get, how long in between the intervals of bet, between a difference of opinion. There's so much information in this. This is exactly comparable to what I say with stocks. It's almost the exact same chart as this. Look, what's the difference? The only difference is that with this, we're going to be looking at prices of greed. What's this? Greed and fear. This is greed. This is fear. Red is fear. Red's fear. Red's selling. That's fear. That's greed. That's fear. All these are people's opinions. That's all this is. All this is public opinion. And the reason I have McDonald's Corp is because I'm in a McDonald's short right now that's actually doing okay. But the reason I bring that up is because that's the kind of information that, at least for myself, matters most. Price action is so key, is so huge. And sometimes I'm willing, again, to lose a half a point to get confirmation from price action than have to hit every top, every bottom. And that's why here, be cautious, because at 8, with over money not like this should already be favored to the over. There shouldn't be the under shouldn't be favored. The under shouldn't be favored. That's why I haven't set this out. Like the sharper books should have at least gone to -110, at least the 110 to give us that. They shouldn't be favored towards the under. That much I can promise you. To give me that confirmation signal. And I know a lot of you are like, what is he talking about? But that's what I look for. I look for signal, dude. When I bet, I look for signal. I try to keep my opinion out of it. I have a certain amount of rules. When they click, like I said, I trade momentum, I trade price action, I trade my network. That's this information that comes in. And I trade mean reversion. Like I said, teams that look terrible, that aren't that bad, or teams that look the best, that aren't that good. Clear. Key times to be watching the markets. Yes, Daniel, the key times to be watching the markets. Great question. You got to look early in the morning or you're going to miss so much. When there's year-round sports, the year-round sport, what I mean by everyday sport, like baseball, NBA, college basketball, not, NFL's week sport. College basketball is weekly sport. So it's bet differently. Lines come out week by week, not every day. When they come out every day, you have to make sure you're paying attention to your odds screen between 6 a.m. I'd say, to be safe, if you're there at 5 a.m. Pacific time to about 9 a.m. Pacific time, those 3 to 4 hour window is when most of the trading happens for the betting syndicates. And then I'll explain what happens later in the day. It's the same with the stock market. I day trade. If you're a day trader, all of your day trading happens in the first 2 hours. After that, volume drops tremendously and you can't day trade anymore. Like, you can't trade without volume because anyone can push the stock however they want. That's not what you want to be a day trader. As a day trader, you want, large cap stocks, huge cap stocks. You need tons of volume, the heaviest volume, so that you trust the moves. It's legit. It's not manipulation. And that's what's happening in the morning with these day-to-day sports. It's a race, and it's those hours when also some of the setups happen. A lot of setups happen by accident. Information changes, or they got out ahead of the market, and then later it happens not to love the side or whatever reason and just come back. It's not like it's a setup. It's just you could work a scalp for absolutely nothing. So my advice, and you'll go to the WagerTalk odds screen, 8 a.m. Eastern time to about noon Eastern time. If you could be watching your odds screen between those hours, it's going to light up. That's when most of the action will happen. And then also that hour leading into game time, that's when a lot of late information happens. That's when also money from the betting public has reached the window. And again, two things affect line moves other than injury, suspensions, whether it's sharp money, respected money, or a lot of money. If too much money comes in on one side, regardless if it's sharp or square, the line's going to end up moving. It's just not going to move instantly or significantly. until it keeps coming in one-sided. That's the difference. Where with a sharp bet, it's one limit bet, fucking moves the line. That's the difference. But if the public keeps coming in on one side, that's going to also move the line. That opens the window for plus EV bets. And that's why that last hour is also very crucial. That's why you see most of my trades come in during that last hour, with a few coming in early. Like you saw, we got in on Seattle, Texas over this morning. We got in on the NBA play for tomorrow early. We got in on a College World Series play on Wake Forest. I had the option of laying 1.5 minus 180 or 2.5 at even money. I took 2.5 at even money, especially in the College World Series, where we've seen the totals are a lot higher scoring than regular Major League Baseball. What else are we got Dontel Mays, which we bet earlier in the week. And that's how those are the ones we got in early. Now what I do is the rest of the day, I have my leans. I keep working them to narrow them down more and more and wait as stuff comes in, knowing that last hour, I'm ready to go. I'm locked in. The guys that I work with are locked in, and we know stuff's coming. So if you could, again, that's a lot of time. I get it, 5 hours. But most people work 8, 10, 12 hours. So if you could just be peeking at that screen, that's when you'll see the most movement. Like if you're a scalper, that's also when you want to be paying attention too. That's when you'll be able to set up your most scalps, especially that early window. Overnights, again, if you're scalping, yes, use overnights. Those move the most. But betting into overnights, be careful. Limits are so small. That's where manipulation is done. I pay attention more as I know bets become more significant. By the morning, these hours, they matter. Like those overnights, I almost never pay attention to unless we're going to bet one, because I know I bet long enough. I know how those are used. I'm not going to make money betting overnights unless I'm just scalping them. That's just my thing. And no, that's not what we do. Key times to be watching the markets. Yes, that was it. Watch. Oh, great. The skills that translate directly between sports betting and stock, it's exactly the same. That's the same. You need the exact same skill set with stock trading and sports betting, meaning once you gain your edge, it then becomes your own discipline. How many factors do I need before I make this trade? Is it really plus EV, or am I convincing myself it's plus EV? That's the discipline. Once you learn how to trade, once someone trains you. I'm a technical trader. I don't read. I got burned as an investor. The best thing happened to me getting burned as an investor. I think like a lot of people got burned buying picks, and that's why hopefully they're here, because they realize that there is, just like 1% of bettors do win, there is that 1% of pick sellers that actually do win. And I believe that in the stock market as well, and found a 1% trader that trained me. I was willing to pay for the education, for the mentorship. And it's years of training. It's not like a week of training, and then you have to apply it. But once you train as a technician, I don't care about the Wall Street Journal. I don't read the Wall Street Journal. I don't watch, CNBC isn't on my screen when I'm trading. I mean, I'll listen to it or watch stuff just out of interest because I like business, but I don't trade off of news. I trade charts. I'm a technical trader. That's it. I only trade charts. And that's what I've become with sports. I only trade my factors. Is it my network that I trust? Is it mean reversion, meaning a team that never looked as good as bad as they looked? Is it which factors are checking off? And each factor that checks off is 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, or 5%. I trade 5 factors, and I kind of work at the same with stocks. If I have 2 factors, I think I have a 60%, 70% trade. 80. Believe me, the only difference between sports and stocks is if you're a very good technical trader, a master trader, you'll win believe it or not, and again, this is the 1%, the less than the 1% of the 1%, you win 80% of your trades. Like those guys, I'm telling you, nail eight out of 10 trades. And the ones that go against them, they know when to stop out immediately and lose very little. Like I'm talking to guys that are day trading for hedge funds. They are hitting 8 out of 10 trades. You can't do that in sports because unlike the stock market, we pay admission. We have a VIG. There's a built-in edge the house has. We have to lay 11 to 10. That hurdle is so huge. So few people, truly casual bettors, understand how hard of a hurdle that is. It's such a hard hurdle. It's why the best sports analysts on the planet, the best, most knowledgeable sports historians in the world, the professional athletes that play the sport can't win betting it. That's the reason. The most knowledgeable sports fans, it's because it's different. It has nothing to do with, they're two separate exercises. Like just like trading stocks has not, being a technical trader has nothing to do with what's happening. You're trading technicals. That's all you're doing. And at least for me, that's what works for me. Again, what works for you works for you. But for me, I just think that it makes sense because you're not guessing. Like you have a system, you have a trading system, and you stick to it. That's it. So again, okay, let's go through this real quickly, man, because we promised. Top to bottom, what I have here. I told you, Elise Reed already got down on them for a group that I work with, but they better at a pick 'em and even plus money. And again, I'm going to conclude over the next hour or two whether I'm willing to lay it. Malarkey, Naimov, what do I have there? I don't have anything to share. Castaneda, we're going to bet. We're betting him for sure. Mays, we're on Dante Mays. Santos is a sharp side. Where's that price now? Yeah, I can't lay it. She's a sharp side for sure. That much I can tell you. I don't want to lay 2 to 1 on her. That's the problem I'm having. Otherwise, I would have. She would have been one of the bets that I set out because where is she? Her opponent. I'll show you. Hold on. Again, bear with me. By football season, bro, I will have this down. I'll be clicking away. You'll be at the screens with the matchups, with the football stuff. I'll have it all. With the teaser rules, all that stuff will be ironed out, even if I need an assistant to help me. But no, we're talking about the girl one. The female girl, the fight, not the female girl one. Where you at, Santos? There, Silva, not Santos. Karine Silva is what I was talking about. Silva's getting, got steam for sure. That much I can tell you. 175, now at 200, even though it doesn't look like a big move, I'm telling you with certainty, that's the sharp side. And here's the side I was looking at, and what stuck out to me was that her opponent, obviously making her debut, that pro record right there of 64%, it may sound okay, like, it's above 60%, not bad. Bottom line, lower tier organizations, you want to see higher than that. You want to see a tougher strength of schedule and at the lower tiers, unless for sure, like the prospect, the skill set. And I don't have, there's not enough about her where you would think that. So that's why I think I agree with the Silva side again, but right here, this too. You're paying 10% more of implied win probability. It's a big loss right there. Like that's your edge. You see what I'm saying? Like if you got down at 145, if you got down at 150, if you got down at 155, if you got down at 160, you got an edge based on that. That's what the implied win probability is right now. If you did that, you placed a winning bet already. Now she has to go out there and do her job, but you did yours. That's the goal, over and over. Repeat that process, that trade. We missed that. We didn't do that like we did with Mays. Like we did our job with Mays. Now he's going to do what he's going to do. Hopefully he does his job as well. But we did ours. And if you did bet Silva earlier, you did your job. Right now, not so much. Santos and Johnny Munoz, what did I have there? Nothing on the Santos fight. Again, nah, I won't eat. I know people like to use them in parlays and stuff like that and use these favorites. If you're not willing to bet them straight, I wouldn't bet parlays unless you're doing it for fun. Like I wouldn't use Santos in a parlay or Silva in a parlay if I'm not willing to lay the 200 on them straight. That's just a rule that I stick with, and it served me well. But again, that's another one where I do know that early on did get a little bit of sharp money, but you're not seeing it. See, here's where it happened. Early on. That's where it happened, and bet up. Why would I want to buy here? Why would I want to buy here? Like you gotta ask yourself that question. Like, do I want to be the last guy buying? Do I want to be the last guy buying? More times than not, you don't want to be the last guy buying. Nurmagomedov, Zaleski dos Santos. All right, another tough fight. Here's the problem I'm having here. With Nurmagomedov, you're going to pay for that name. Like, there's always a premium attached, but that's not his fault. It's hard to get value on a fighter with that last name, again, because there's going to be a premium attached. And here's what proves that. Looky right here. Even though he's 2-1, he closed the favorite in every fight. He's negative ROI, and here's why. His average closing line is minus 221, so he was supposed to win 69% of his fights, implied win probability. He's below that at 2-1, so he's underperformed the betting market. That's proof right there. You can't argue that. That means the odds makers have done a good job of pricing him. That's the difficulty of even with skillful fighters. If the market prices them right, you're not making money off them. Like, again, you're just hoping to be the product of good luck. You're not betting value. It's not an exercise you could keep continuing to do over and over and over again. I'll tell you what, I actually like Dos Santos in this spot. And the layoff, I don't think is a negative. In fact, here's what I found, that even though he's at a 19-month layoff, over the last 80 plus UFC fighters with a year off, almost 6 out of 10 won their return bout. And that change makes sense from back in the day, because now they have so much better trainers, so much better recovery, everything like that. These athletes, when they're out, it's not the negative that it used to be. You may see Zaleski on our radar a little later, that's for sure. Who else do we have there? Mays, we said. Oh, Altamirano, Elliott. I'm going to pass. Here's what I could share here. I like the dog. Every sharp bettor group that I respect and sharp bettor that I work with is on Tim Elliott. That much I can tell you with 100% certainty. And that's why actually I didn't bet that. I show that much respect to the guys that I work with, that when I don't have a strong opinion, I'll pass. And here, I don't agree with it, but I don't have enough conviction to disagree with it to take advantage of it. Meaning, because a lot of times, if I have conviction on the other side, I'll fade it. I know sharps lose. I know they're 55-45. I know they're not 80-20. So I'm okay with fading them, but I have to have conviction. And when that's the case, you're usually getting a better number because they move the line for you the other way. And here, let's see right now where it's at, around 160. See, open 150, got up to 190, around 190, now back down to that 160 range. So again, I'm just letting you know that all the groups that I work with, the respectable winning groups, they like Tim Elliott, man. I passed. I'm not going to be on it. Use the information as you see fit. Again, I'm here to try to share as much as I can. Caceres, that's a side that is also getting short money. If you're fading, you're going against the short money. If you're betting it, you're getting a little worse number, but it hasn't moved all that much, and I don't think it should. Because again, getting Pineda at that big of a price, having his new contract and all, I don't know, a little worrisome to me. I didn't touch it. This is a card I don't have all that much on. Like you saw, we zeroed in on the Dontel May side. I like the Castaneda side. A group that I work with came in opposite until that didn't happen, with other groups came in the other way, and that kind of now puts me back on them with a little more confidence. But other than that, we're not going to have much, and that's okay. There's some days we have a lot of volume, some days we won't have a lot of volume. The goal is to bet when you have an edge. And over the next few hours, again, that may change, but I don't want to waste your time. I rather like get into everything that is actually going to be actionable, that'll help you. Yeah, okay. Anything on Zaleski and Abu Kabar? Like I said, I like the Zaleski side. There's not Nurmagomedov, even though you're seeing, let me show you here, that Zaleski opened as the favorite and money came in on the Nurmagomedov side, right? And he's now the favorite. There is two-way sharp action there. Now that Zaleski's a dog, that's why that line didn't keep climbing. You see what I'm saying? So you have sharp bettors that have Nurmagomedov early here as a dog or as a coin flip, and now you're seeing sharp bettors doing the same thing here with Zaleski as a dog or as a coin flip. So it looks to me like the conclusion is as is a coin flip fight. So if you could get either guy at plus money, you're probably not making a bad bet. At least that's what the line move is telling us. So if you have a strong opinion, this is exactly the kind of fight you should be comfortable betting, because you're not losing much in line value either way now. No group has gotten it so far either way. It's kind of like a doji candle, if you're traders out there, where now you have a stalemate. You know, you see those little doji candles on your chart, and you know, okay, now a reversal is probable because there's a stalemate. There's just as many buyers as sellers. If it's escalating up, okay, they've reached a stalemate. If it's coming down, okay, now it's reached the stalemate. And I think that's what we've done here. We've reached the stalemate, and I think if you have conviction, you get involved. I like Zaleski, and I'm actually going to do some work over the next hour to see if possibly we get involved. I'll let you know if we get involved. That is the side that I'm looking at. And as far as the Elliott side, again, the guys that I respect, that I work with, whose stuff I would consider 100% plus EV, are on Elliott. And that's the only reason you didn't get at least a 2% play on Altamirano from me. I check my ego at the door. I do this for money, dude. I do this for real, not for social media clout, I do this for real. And thank God there's a handful of you, not tons of you, but enough of you to start filling up this room that are taking this trip with me and actually doing it with me. So thank you. It's more inefficient than the stock market. Does it make easier or harder to make money? The big negate the inefficient. It's great question. You need more money in the stock market than you do in sports betting, because in the stock market, if you're day trading, you're talking you need a minimum of 25,000, like, because you're going to want to have that 4 times leverage that they give you for day trading, so you could be able to make money. Because when you're day trading, you're picking off half percentages, 1%. You're not making 5% trades, 10% swing trades, 15% swing trades, where you're letting the trade sit for a few months even, weeks to months, days, weeks to months on swing trades. Day trades, most times, probably 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, you're out by the end of the trading session. So you're picking up a 0.5%. You need capital to make money off a 0.5%. You're betting $1,000, a 0.5%, you're making $50, and that's your trade for the day. You can't live off that. You know what I mean? That's the difference. Where with sports betting, you need less to start, the opportunities to make more with less. But I think the risk is also higher because of that. Where, again, with the trade, if you're a good trader and you properly stick to good trading guidelines, you won't lose more than 1% in a trade, 2% in a trade. You'll know when to stop out. Where with sports, when you lose a bet, you lose 100% of your bet. You don't get any of it back. I bet 500 on a game, it loses, I lose the whole 500. But if my stock goes down 1%, I lose 1% of what I have invested in the stock. I don't lose the whole 100%. That's the difference. So I would recommend that you build capital from sports betting because it takes a smaller bankroll. Learn to trade. I urge all young people, learn to trade. You want freedom, financial freedom? Learn to fucking trade. Don't start trading until you know that you're profitable, though, or you're going to lose money. So that's a different animal. We're in the sports betting room right now. We could talk about that. That's no problem. But yeah, that's a different animal. But that's what I would say. And then, because once you have capital, again, I want you to get to a point where you don't want more in your bankroll in sports. Instead, you're looking to invest in stock, in real estate, in crypto, in precious metals, in art, in other things. So you're diversified. So, well, I had a bad month in sports. So what? Who gives? Oh, guess what? Gold's up 20%. Or you know what? My real estate's booming. My rentals are all, that's what I want for you. And again, I'm not selling a dream. I'm not pitching anything, like, because it isn't overnight. But I promise you, dude, this is me. I was broke. I came to Vegas with $600, and just 10 years ago, where I was in this racket, had the information to be able to win, but not the discipline. I had my bankroll in my pocket. I told you the truth. My net worth was in my pocket just 10, 12 years ago. I had nothing. And now I say it isn't a brag, but I'm fine. I'm doing well, is what I mean. But it takes a time. You don't have 5 years. What the fuck? Like, it isn't going to come overnight, man. But if you, in that time, you're going to learn so much. It's all, and you're going to see the exponential growth. But at least give yourself time to start seeing it. The same reason most people quit the gym and stop dieting after 2 months, because they don't have the six-pack yet or lost 800 pounds. Like, dude, slow down, man. Give it some time. Like, especially if you see the end results. What else? Okay. Yes. How to avoid risk of ruin. Thank you. Best question. Okay. When you're going to take on any endeavor of gambling, you need to understand there is a risk of ruin. That's just the facts. And you need to be able to establish what is my risk of ruin. That means, what is the possibilities I lose my bankroll? And you could actually make it to where the probabilities are almost zero. That's on you once you have an edge. This is fact. That eventually is a choice that you need to make as far as risk of ruin. I learned this from blackjack, because when I worked with a blackjack group, what I found out from the Bankroll guys was that they chose a risk of ruin before we ever went out to start playing. What are they comfortable with losing the bankroll? And here's what the math shows. Are you ready? This is advantage blackjack right now, where we had about a 1.5, barely a 2% edge. Okay, no one had. Some people claim close to 2% edge, but let's just say above a 1%, less than 2% edge. If you have 200 units, okay, just 200 units. So let's say that means if I'm going to be betting $10 a unit, if I have $2,000 bankroll at $10 a unit, your risk of ruin is 40%. That means that if you have a $2,000 bankroll and you're betting $10 a unit, your risk of ruin is 40%. So 4 out of 10 times you will lose the bankroll, the entire bankroll, even with about a 2% edge. If you only have 200 units as your bankroll and you're betting one, per unit. 40%. If you have 500 units, 500. So let's say you're betting $100 a unit, or you're betting $10 a unit, you need $5,000, right? At $10 a unit, your risk of ruin is 10%. So they knew that we're going to lose one bankroll every 10 if we had 500 units behind us. To get at the 1% risk of ruin, we had to go to 1,000 units. We had to be able to bankroll if we had a 1,000 unit bankroll with about a 2% edge, our risk of ruin was 1%. We knew we would double the bankroll 99 out of 100 times. That's exactly what I've been trying to explain, and I'm going to keep repeating it over and over in different ways on why I urge the determined bet size and stick to it. Because do you understand that with 200 units as your bankroll, you still have a 4 out of 10 chance that you're going to lose that bankroll? That's just underfunded. That's with an edge. 400 units, a 20% chance. 500 units, a 10% chance. 1,000 units to get it to a 1% chance. You need to bet small in relation to your bankroll, or your risk of ruin is going to be high. And our bad day, bad week, bad month is going to bury you. And nothing's going to change that. Like, that's why I'm telling you, you control risk of ruin. It's not on me, it's on you. I've set it up so your risk of ruin based on my edge is so low, is very, very low if you follow it. If you alter it, if you deviate from it, you're either increasing your risk of ruin or decreasing it. If you're decreasing it, good. That's what you should be doing. I want you to get to, remember, I give you 10 grand, you're betting $1. That's a 1% risk of ruin. That's 1,000 units. That's a 1% risk of ruin. That's almost nothing, minuscule, right? That's where you want to be. But you'll never get there unless you start from day one doing it like that. And we'll get there. Just please, please, please. That's why over the last 7 days, I know it sucked. Dude, I'm pissed. I hate losing. No one hates losing more than me. But it's going to happen. And I need to make sure you're prepared for it. So when we kick ass, you're there to make money. Because that's what we're going to do. We're going to do damage. We've done 200 units worth of damage in 5 months. 40 units a month average of damage. 10 units a week of damage. That's 3 positions a week of damage every week. If you're $100 fucking position better per game, $300 a week. That's what we've averaged this year. And we got 7 more months of this. We're going to do damage, but you got to be able to survive 7 bad days, 30 choppy days even, and not lose patience, lose focus, start chasing, be like, oh, I need to get that back quicker. I'm going to up my bet. No, you don't have to do shit. Just have to stick to it. Let this do the work for you. Let the edge, let it work. Give it a chance. Let it work for you. I promise you, it'll get you paid. Your edge will get you paid. So again, any questions, anything on any games? Claremont foot +2 soccer. I don't even know who they are. There's a Claremont soccer. They're looking for +2 at -115. You can see it real quick, just so you don't think I'm bullshitting you. There it is. Claremont +2. Claremont +2 -115. So yeah, if you can get down Claremont +2, Claremont +2 it is, baby. Again, I don't even know who they are. I don't even know who they are. So let me look through again. If we ain't got any questions, I could get back to work because I want to send out some MLB, some UFC, and see if we could turn some profit and get back to doing some damage. Because like I said, last 7 days and more yesterday. Yesterday pissed me off because I was hoping that they started off that College World Series like the last 10 of them, and we had a 5-1 night. We wake up and it's like boom. You know, again, not like it would change anything, but it's just a better feeling, right? When you're winning. All right, all right. I don't want to miss anyone. If there's any particular game, any particular fight, again, please be patient. I'm not tech savvy, learning to use all this shit better, learning how to ship, because again, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know if it's okay what to put out. So just let me figure out that side out, so I could share as much as possible. I don't want to disappoint. I want to go over the games you want to go over, the fights you want to go over, and not be more, not today was, I wasn't prepared like I want to be. I keep it real. And just like we need to improve, I need to improve. So I promise you, I'll get better. And are going through each fight, going through each game, I promise you, that's my goal. I will get better. I will be more prepared and more organized as well. This was the first we did on a Saturday. Keep in mind, and I do think, like, no excuses, but a lot going on before I jump on and lots going to go on after I jump on off. So please forgive me that I wasn't up to par. Yes. Sin, you will have some more UFC plays for sure. Because like I said, I got some link. Castaneda is coming with certainty. But with the caveat, you guys in the room will know that there is sharp money on the other side of me. So manage your risk correctly, how you see fit. But I'll be looking, we got props too, still to dig in. Again, there's just a lot going on this week and everything. So it wasn't the best to launch a Saturday, but we were just so excited last time that I got a little ahead of ourselves. That's all it is. But my only goal is to be here for you, every single week, to walk you through this slower time of baseball, make sure we stay focused, make sure we stay on the path, make sure we're in preparation for football. Oh, season win totals are coming in. They're starting to come in. Most of them, here's the problem we're having, they move so fast. Like the sharpest of the sharpest groups, when they fire one, these books move super fast. So what I realized is we have to already be ahead of it. And over the last week, that's exactly what I've done. Put us in a position where I have all the NFL that we're looking to bet and all the college that we're looking to bet. And now as anything comes in, I'm going to send it right out. The regular subscribers, most won't get a lot of these, like I said, because they just move too fast. Like, I'll tell you real quickly. Since you guys are on here, I'll share them right here. Fuck it. I love you guys. Watch this shit. You ready? Vegas Raiders under 7.5 -150. Super sharp. Super fucking sharp. Like razor sharp. But it's not there no more. New York Giants under 8.5. Up to -170. Super sharp. Keep going. What do I got for you? What else do I have? Oh, Louisville Cardinals over 7 -140. Super sharp. Louisville Cardinals over 7 -140. USC Trojans over 9.5. USC over 9.5. Up to -150. Up to -150 that USC wins 10 games. Okay? That Louisville was also up to -150 that they go over 7. The last college one, there was one more. There it is, Baylor. Baylor Bears under 7.5 up to -140. Baylor Bears under 7.5 up to -140. So we got the Baylor Bears under 7.5. We got Louisville over 7. We got USC over 9.5. We got the Raiders under 7.5 and the Giants under 8.5. Now, I am so certain all of those have moved and wasn't able to use them. Again, I keep it real with you guys. That's just me not being prepared. And that's not going to happen again. Now we're ready for any NFL and college that comes. It's just, usually I wouldn't, again, you guys wouldn't have even known this, but with this room, this is us. This is us keeping it real. So be ready for the NFL and college football. And like I said, if you're not properly funded, maybe pass on those. Maybe just bet the biggest plays. Because if you're not able to replenish Bankroll, I don't want you not to be able to bet daily, to bet after bad 2 days. I want you to be able, because you see, baseball's been really good to us. And I want you to make sure you profit from that down the net. We haven't even reached the All-Star break. So we got a lot of good times ahead. And if you tie up a lot of money in your futures, if you're not able to replenish that capital, maybe consider how much you want to invest in futures, or, you know, narrow it down to 1 or 2 you really love, or maybe even pass this year and say, you know, next season I'll be in a better position. I just don't want it to hurt you. I don't want any of the information I share to put you in a position where it's not advantageous. Use it so it's advantageous. And that means sometimes not using it. The best thing to do, sometimes not using it. Almost like when you miss the number and I tell you, let it go. I know it sucks sometimes, especially if it's a 4% play, but let it go. I promise you another 4% is coming. So I don't want to waste any more of your time. We've been on here for over 90 minutes. I promise you, I give you my word, I will have this set up more improved next time. And by football season, we will be 100% spot on. And thanks for your time. Wish you the best of luck. Stick to the bet sizing. And next week, I hope we go for the last 7 and it's plus. And we added to that 200. God bless. Thank you for your time. You guys are awesome.